Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Howdy, howdy, folks.
Great.
Okay, let's, I've got 8:30, close enough. Tracy.
I'm gonna sit here
No,
because I actually have to scoot out a little early.
Yeah, you did, okay.
9:15, so.
Okay.
You're the one.
We'll keep track of that, so we can remind me
The
at
chair is
9
right
o'clock, so we can.
Canberra and. Okay.
All right. And have a seat. And there's a sign for you folks.
Good morning, this is Jenny, joining the call.
So we can get your comments in before.
Okay,
You okay?
yeah, I wouldn't have to leave except for I deliver the flowers for Cutsworth's and Frank's funeral was this morning, so I have to deliver the flowers, so I need to kind of be there.
Well, bless your heart.
Yeah.
Bless your heart, I read about that and that's really sad, but he was a good man.
Very good.
And he will, I truly be missed in the community,
Absolutely.
you know? Okay, folks, today is November 8th, 2023, and this is the Canby Traffic Safety Commission meeting. And my name is Bob Canberra. Let's go around the room to introduce ourselves.
I'm Deanna Valcarp, Vice Chairperson.
Gary Bryant, committee member. Clint Coleman, committee member.
Jeff Aiden, citizen.
Amanda Hayes, citizen.
Spencer Pollock, City of Cambridge Public Works.
Tracy Anthony, City Council President and liaison to this commission.
William Doversberger, citizen.
Joseph MacArthur, citizen.
And online, Jenny
Yeah, good morning. This is Jenny Driscoll, committee member.
and Brianna.
Good morning. My name's Brianna. I'm the Canby Planning Liaison for the commission.
Thank you. Okay, folks, that we've concluded our introductions. Everyone received the copy of the minutes for October 11th meeting. I believe you were emailed out. Any corrections or additions to that?
I approve the minutes from the October 11th meeting.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Okay, Deanne, John, and Gary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Thank you very much. And in advance, thank you, Gary, for filling in, taking the minutes today. I appreciate that. Always a task that needs to be done. Okay, so let us start with, we have quite a few citizens today. Let me go over for the people that just came in. Here's our expectations, okay? At the Traffic Safety Commission, we welcome all citizen input and we try to take it very seriously and try to handle our concerns. But we have a process that we go through, okay? So the first month that a concern is raised to us, we generally will listen and not take any action, okay? Because that gives us a time to really reflect on what you've said, do some investigation, actually visit maybe where you sit, your concern is, and to think about it. And then the following month is when we'll try to problem solve and take action. That way, the conversation and your concern is much more deliberate and much more seriously taken than somebody just shooting from the hip what they heard, okay? And it's worked a lot better that way for us, I think. And so, we will ask questions if we just don't understand, okay, or to clarify some things. So, what we're gonna do is, we have a concern from last month, but we will deal with all the new concerns that there are, and then we'll deal with that. You are welcome to stay, share, you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting, okay? We welcome citizens to hear what we're doing or not doing, and so, I'm gonna go with the order that people have come to my attention, okay? And so, Jeff Aiden,
Yes,
could you, tell us about what your concern is?
I live at 1921 North Locust Street. And my concern here is that we seem to have some excessive speed going up and down Locust Street between Territorial and 22nd. And I just was wanting to make you aware of that and hoping that maybe there would be something that can be done to help slow people down. And primarily it's, I think it's more on the weekends, because I think most of us that live there, we follow the speed, but on the weekends, it seems to be a little bit worse.
Okay.
If I can ask a question?
So, just let's,
Sure.
so it's 22nd Street is all the way down,
Yep.
and so it's this stretch of street.
Exactly, that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I live right on the corner, almost where that one little bubble is, right there. It says Lennar at Dots Farm.
You said most of the problems occur on the weekends.
I think it's more so on the weekends, yeah. Yeah, there was, you know, what brought it, manifested itself is that, you know, people drive a little bit fast, but then there was a young lady a few weeks ago that was just, I had to be going at least 90 miles an hour.
Oh,
Just moved from Territorial up. I mean, we were so flabbergasted, there was a neighbor that was pulling out of her driveway too, we kind of looked at each other and I don't know if she went past 22nd or not. But, yeah, so before it becomes a bigger problem, I thought you guys might be aware of that and maybe we could monitor it or do something. I mean, my initial outreach was that after I've been driving up and down Birch, I thought, well, speed humps seem to slow people down. I also understand that maybe there's some controversy and issues with those, so.
Yeah, for all those who have come to us with speed concerns, and the first impulse is always speed humps. I need to let you know that Spencer's looking at me, and I think Tracy's looking at me from the city.
This is more.
Yeah, the city has made it kind of clear to the Traffic Safety Commission that they are not installing any more speed humps throughout the city.
They
For
are very
various-
controversial.
For various reasons. Three that I know of are, there's emergency vehicles have concerns about responding quick enough when the speed humps are up. But aside from that, it seems that when they're installed, there's a backlash from even the community in which they're installed on. Half the community generally does not want what the other half wants, so it becomes extremely unpopular for us to try to do things like that. So after Birch, yes, you can see there's been no other speed humps, but that doesn't mean there are not other alternatives.
Yeah.
Potholes.
Just leave the potholes there, there you go.
You don't have to worry about paving next.
Is that a 25 mile an hour?
That is funny.
Yeah.
Um, So one of the things that we will since you're the next person up here, is we probably will ask the city to put in their.
I actually have it here in the office, and so I know a lot of people have been wanting to see it. Yes, that is the radar device that will be going up. I have a feeling in several locations this month.
Well, yeah.
And that's just gonna log. Yeah, so it counts volume as well as speed.
And we'll get a better accurate picture of, not to dismiss the fact that there are speeders, but we need to get an idea of volume and timing of them. And that, depending upon those kind of circumstances, it can dictate where we go with this. But in any case, year would be next up, then we would place it on that, and that would be part of the discussion the following month. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes. In the meantime, most everybody, one of the things that we found has been instrumental is the police department has a big wagon, big digital sign that you can request that they put in, you know, that they at least have it visit your street. And this allows people to get a visual, immediate response when they're driving
This
by.
is your speed type of thing.
Yeah, it'll give speed. And so if you go online to the Canby Police Department, there is a form that you can use to fill out that will request it be brought to your street. It's very popular. So don't expect that it will be an immediate request, but if you don't get it in, then it does never occur, right?
Right.
So get in line and submit the request, and it is helpful to bring to people's attention what they're doing and their impact on others, you know? Okay, so you will be scheduled again for discussion next month.
Perfect.
Is there anything else that we're not understanding about your
No,
concern?
no,
All right,
you got it.
okay,
I guess real quick, is it pretty much the entire stretch, or did you notice it being more so from where the new Dodge subdivision went in? So 22nd.
Well, considering that's the corner that I live on, that's
Okay.
my primary focus.
Okay.
Is from there.
Right there.
To
19.
22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Amanda,
Yes,
yes, you're next up.
okay. I live at 339 North Knightsbridge Road. There is one house between ours and Grant and one house between ours and the cemetery. And we've lived there 6 years. We have had countless incidents of property damage where vehicles have left the road.
Are you in the corner?
Yeah.
I used to live at 535. And in my time there, we had 2 people. That's why that concrete meridian was put in your
Yeah.
yard.
So the Jersey barrier was hit in early August. I woke up at 2 a.m. to a car upside down in my front yard.
Mhm.
I've had 4 mailboxes, the power pole has been replaced, and our personal electrical panel has had to be replaced as a result of that.
We've been a car in the house twice that's why the barrier went there.
Yeah, so I actually have today off work because we're having a 10-ton boulder placed to replace the Jersey barrier. But I would love to see something that warns people of the curve and the stop that they're approaching. Because people just fly down until the curve. And something that I think is noteworthy is that both of the largest incidents that have occurred, the power pole and then this car flip, they were both from out of town.
Is that by the cemetery?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's the house right in the corner. It's in
Oh,
the
yeah.
corner.
It's a funny curve, it's a funny
Yeah.
curve right there.
But people do not go 25 there.
Yeah.
No,
And
so
I
they
just,
just kind of continue straight instead of bending that curve.
and that's what happened with this lady. She did not, we think she was probably passed out. But she did not slow down or try to steer. She would have hit our house if the barrier was not there. So,
And all the problems occur heading toward Holly.
Yes.
yeah, toward Grant,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, any ones that are hitting your guys' property, there have been hits.
There, our neighbor-
Going the other
Our
direction.
neighbor was hit with somebody coming out of a stop sign. I don't know how that happens.
I've always thought it was this side. There's others coming the other way.
From coming the other way, there have been incidents.
Our neighbor took an impact to their house.
Yeah.
So this boulder, I wonder what's the
It's
dimensions
the
of
size
that?
of the car. It's 9 by 6 by 4.
Holy.
Well, Grant Knightsbridge is one of several streets in Canby that is extremely heavy traffic.
Mhm.
Coming over the bridge, there's around, what was it, Spencer, about 3,000 to 4,000?
I think it was right in between there, that 3,500 a day.
3,500 cars a day across Knightsbridge, just to give you some reference. So your perspective is well documented. It's a real concern. Okay, folks.
I thought you could put a rumble strip on their side of the street since you have the bike lane on the other side.
Well,
There's, I work with the highway strike for SPM.
Yep.
And I worked for them for over 8 years. That would at least, if somebody's dozing off, at least would come up a little bit.
Mhm.
that is something to, because of when we talk about, we won't talk about suggestions, but that's
That's
a
good
good thought.
Yeah.
And it's, well, welcome citizen input. Gotta live by what we say. But we will discuss your concerns. Your concern is when we talked about, urgency.
Mhm.
You guys do have a history of
Yeah,
a real serious life and death kind of situations. I mean, the accident rate around that intersection is just unbelievable.
Where's the rock? As long as you're talking.
Well,
it's,
So
There's
there's
a, there's a,
that little black sign right
Yeah.
in my driveway.
the-
Behind those plants there, I had tried to camouflage it, but
Yes.
there's a Jersey barrier there. And
Yes.
that's what was hit in August.
Oh, I saw it, sweet there is.
yeah, there's a big.
It weighs about 5,000 pounds and it was knocked over and it's broken all the way through.
Oh geez, yeah, that was.
It's probably going up.
2,000. I want to say about 2,000.
I remember.
No, probably
I
about
remember
19.
the car, they
1998.
put that thing there. It's
Yeah.
just amazing that,
So that's where the rock will go.
That's where the rock will go, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit further back.
Before that was put in.
Throw camouflage straight down.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
Okay,
had worked to kind of hide it, and
Oh.
now I have to take all that out.
all right, this is. We don't need a speed camera on that.
No, we don't.
No, I
We
think
know
we
the problem.
have this history, we just gotta have a nice long discussion about it.
About a solution.
All right. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And,
So I should return for the next.
you should return for the next one.
I'm a neighbor from across the street and a little bit down, so in case it was like, you guys are like, what? I'll be like, no, seriously.
Oh, okay, so where are you?
I am 502 north.
Pardon me?
I'm 502 Knightsbridge, so I'm just down on the flag lot, that little house that's like way back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, and have you been impacted by accidents?
no, not by accidents, but definitely by very fast drivers. I have 2 little kids, and it's very much like, don't go out in the front. We are very set back, we have a very long driveway, so my house, my property isn't impacted at all, but definitely the speed gets very impacted. Cause there's little kids all, I mean, we have 2nd and 3rd graders next door and across the street, and you have a 2nd and 4th, and yeah.
She has signed that.
She has signed. Have you signed it?
I have not seen it.
Okay, please sign it. And your name?
My name is Jolie.
Jody. Okay, Jody. Please come back next month. So we can have a good discussion about this.
I look forward to it.
And we appreciate you coming, really do. These are the kinds of, this is the forum for us to try to help citizens.
Thank you, I'll catch the rest
I need my phone back.
on the video. Thank you.
Next up, my list is on, I believe William,
So I'm at 566 North Knott,
you are,
off of 4th Street,
you are where? I'm sorry?
566 North Knott,
566
North Knott,
North Knox.
North Knox, okay.
not Can.
Yeah.
So, basically I've got a 2-parter. One of them is 4th and Ivy. A crosswalk going across that street.
Across 4th or across Ivy?
Across Ivy. Nobody stops. The police set up their little test things, there's always on the south side. There are no crosswalks there, there are countless kids, I've been in my place for 12 years, 12 or 13 years. I've almost been hit countless times walking or even on a bike with kids trying to cross that street. Not so much on the south side of that street, but that north side right there. It jogs, and with all the apartments down at 4th Street, there are countless kids that ride their bike and. You know, I see the curb painted, which I love. I work for the city of Hubbard. We do water, sewer, we do all of it with 4 people. Majority of all our curbs are painted up to the corners to keep people off of them, so you can see them, but nobody wants to stop to let people cross that street. Like I said, it's a 2-parter on mine, one back and forth and not.
Just one part. Is that? It is a designated,
So every corner
Area.
is a
but is that,
crosswalk.
is marked?
Um,
These pictures might be a little old, that's what I'm asking, because there's sometimes the.
That's exactly-
this is, yeah, this is July of this year.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think on for how offset these 2 are.
The crosswalk got to be on this side out.
Yeah, but a crosswalk.
A crosswalk. Okay. Cause
I'm just asking, I'm not saying, I'm
Yeah.
not suggesting that, but I'm just asking for clarification so that we all visit that intersection. My wife and I walk it a lot. And I do know that you have to be pretty assertive.
Or run or whatever, because.
Yeah.
I used to run, so I'm pretty assertive, but I wear a red jacket, so you got pretty blind.
Well, my wife walks the dog constantly every morning. My
Yeah.
youngest, oldest daughter walks in the evening, and I ride my bike in the afternoon sometimes, but you can't cross that street half the time.
Okay, that's a cross, okay, your second concern.
Fourth and not, back to our intersection down there, that's, I don't know how you call it, the transition.
It's another
Right
groupie
there,
jog.
so not so much of a crosswalk there, but having those corners painted yellow, because right there where you're at, that duplex there, they park all the way up to that stop sign. You can't see down that street, cars coming. If you flip it, the page around, once again, if cars are parked all the way right there, the park all the way up there, you can't see down that way. Likewise, it's across the street.
These are more.
Yeah,
Spencer, can you share the map? Spencer, could you please share the map?
I'm sorry, I forgot that I turned off sharing.
That's okay. No, it's all right. Thank you.
I recently got code enforcement to tag that white van that's in that driveway, so it's parked on the side road with expired tags and been sitting there for 6 months. Cause when you pull up to that stop bar right there, and if you don't mind going up to it closer. You pull up to that stop bar legally, and if you scroll a little further. You can't make that turn when that vehicle's parked there, back to the left, further back up a little bit if you can. Or flip all the way around.
Trying to look,
Yeah, so right there's that van, I just had it, I had, couldn't force it, make them move that, because when you're pulling a trailer or something, you try to take that corner, you can't do it. Or if you're coming from like on Knott Street, headed north. And you're trying to look to the right, you can't see because the vehicles park all the way to the edge of the curb, you cannot see down that street unless you're in a lifted vehicle. So it's multiple as painting the corners, but unfortunately, that greenhouse, I feel sorry for them because they do not have parking. Right, and they have 4 cars, 4 or 5 cars. Likewise with that duplex, they had, their tenant had trailers that were really parked all the way up to the edge of the curb and they pulled over with stop sign. And being we have to jog and go straight across that, or not jog, but drive.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst. I mean, I have a 40-foot foot. It's a hard and straight place because I can't get around that corner.
Even on the other side,
It's
this
busy.
side and the other side of that street, there's a van that,
Yeah.
work van parks there, so you gotta come.
And it leads
Pretty far out.
those exactly what I'm talking about. In that stop bar, I've been pulled over by the cops because I'll admit it, I don't stop at that stop bar because you can't see. You have to pass that stop bar to at least that box to be able to see down the streets, and that's in my Corolla to where I can physically see without being hit. I told them, yeah, stop bar, and I creep up because you can't see the intersection. And you have to get across the sidewalk or crosswalk, and it's gonna do any good because, I mean, I walk that a lot. Everyone down our street says like I in a wheelchair that I'm sure you've seen them too. Cruising by there screaming at people, it's fine, he is what he is, but it's paint, my idea is to paint the corners yellow. Back people up off those corners. Like that blue house, her complaint is the exact same thing, painting that from that walkway to that fence. And that walkway, at least 10 feet from the corner, so people can see people trying to cross the street, because when events are here,
Yeah.
they park right up over that grade.
Yep.
And back into the cars over the other grade, you can barely walk between them.
Another note is that Fourth is a busy street.
Fourth is another,
I mean, and not as busy as some of the others around town, but it is a,
And yeah,
I mean.
hauling a trailer, and if you go down to the other end of our street, Ninth Street, you can't make a right because of all the equipment trailers that are there, and you have a 1-lane.
it's a half street right
Like
there.
I have the street, the power pole, that's right in the middle.
So for you, the biggest concern,
For me, it's that.
turning on to Fourth,
It's.
either from either side
Or crossing.
or crossing.
Yeah, and then, like I said, I think the easiest thing to do, like I said, I'm not trying to throw it out there, but I worked with traffic for over 8 years. Is painting the curbs would be the easiest thing. Would be to cheapest thing too.
Not necessarily for public works,
Well,
but in this circumstance.
yeah, well, let's say I work for the city of Hubbard and we painted all our curbs this year.
Just to kind of give foresight, I live over by the high school softball fields. And they painted areas in our area to try to help on 13th, but unfortunately, people still don't follow it, but hopefully with it painted, people might be more cautious, but I am finding that nowadays people aren't like, even if it's red, they don't even follow the guidelines, so.
Yeah, well, I have
Goes
to,
down.
I know we have code enforcement, new code enforcement, I'll be getting to know her, I'm sure, because I've dealt with the apartment complex across the street and code enforcement. But, if they start ticketing these vehicles, ticket everybody, you know, sooner or later, they're gonna get it through their head, they don't want to ticket and stop letting people off them.
There is a certain amount of enforcement that's necessary.
And it's not, that unfortunately, I'm not trying to point fingers, but I don't think it was being done. I mean, I got a ticket for backing up onto the road. I have a class A CDL, I've had it for over 10 years. And I got a ticket for backing up at a gas station because there were diesels waiting in line and I backed up onto the road. I saw a car come and stop, I pulled forward a little bit, continued back up into the road to turn. And the new Canby officer at that time that was being trained, they pulled me over to Cutsford's, gave me a ticket and I mean, I guess it's a law, you cannot back up into the road, any road, side street, you're not supposed to back up into the road, it's against the law. Or whatever they say, there is an ordinance for it. Whether they choose to enforce it is the other thing.
I don't know if it's any road, I think you can residential, because everybody got a salad to drive it every day.
It's in the ordinance, and I can't pull it up right now, but it's any public highway, highways dictated any road a car travels down. By the wording in their thing. So if you were to back up out of an alley onto 4th Street, that's a highway. Fortunately, mine was over by Green. You know, I did back up onto the road, saw a car coming full forward. But anyways, yeah, okay, sorry.
Well, and we will discuss what knocks and crosswalks on Fourth.
And I can almost never come back because I just happen to be off this next week.
Okay.
And that's why I'm here, because I just saw the guy out cleaning the storm drain
Good.
on 4th.
We'll have a discussion
Did you get in
and,
contact?
and
Yeah.
these,
Contact me.
and the meetings are recorded. So your discussion on your area will be next month.
Yeah.
And you can either join us online if you, by Zoom
Yeah.
for that part, but if you can't, then you can check the recording.
It's always on Wednesday,
It's always the second
second Wednesday,
every month at
normally.
8:30.
Is it works.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You can find it online and launch and we have your email and.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yes.
Like I said, it worked out once I start talking about it. My time to bend over it versus yelling at my car.
Well, we appreciate you coming and you're welcome to stay.
Oh, I will.
All right, and we have one last person and I didn't catch your name.
Justin.
Pardon?
Justin McCarthy.
Justin. Okay, Mr. MacArthur.
So my concern is regarding speeding. I live on 996 Northwest 2nd Avenue. That's down by the police station. I'm here on behalf of the HOA. I'm a new HOA board member. And I believe they had done a traffic study.
Yes.
For our neighborhood.
Yes.
And it was shown that no, people were not in fact speeding. It just appears fast when you come down the hill off of 2nd Avenue. So the next step was to implement a speed reduction from 25 to 15 miles an hour. And that was my request.
Okay.
And that's based on I'm a parent, there, I have 2 young boys, most of the people, I'd say out of the 136 homes in that neighborhood, about 100 of them have young kids. They're always running around, because the neighborhood is so dense, most people park on the street. And when you have street parking, you have limited sight distance, is kind of one of your concerns. So limited sight distance creates problems when you're cornering. And most of this isn't from, most of the speeding isn't from people living there, it's from delivery drivers or people not in the neighborhood, they're just, you know, temporarily. Yeah, things like that, even the Amazon guy fly through. I've chased down somebody, killed them, stop, my wife's chased down the Domino driver, got him fired. So we're aggressive. Prior military, we're aggressive. Yeah, as a new board member, this was something that was brought up. And nobody was able to make it to these meetings because of the work schedule. I can strict around my schedule, so.
Can I ask a question?
Let me
Yeah.
respond in giving you some data from,
Sure.
I will share with you the traffic, speeds
The speed study, yeah.
study that we did. And, it isn't that there wasn't speeding,
Okay,
it was that it was such a low rate.
okay.
You know, I mean, there's two people speeding is speeding. But if you have such a low rate of speeding that it's hard to identify.
One
Yeah.
guy at 3 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah,
remember?
it was, what we did say was that we found that there was almost a pattern. Of this low amount of speeding. It was almost planned that it was at a certain time.
So certain people that.
Yeah, I'm sure we did that, it's almost like a certain people, and one of the thoughts to sharing, I can't remember the person's name right now that came to us with her concern.
Yeah, so they're all right. I think she was the former chair or maybe the
It
chair.
was one.
Cherry Green.
Yeah.
Cherry Green.
Don't know.
We shared that, you know, the community. If you see somebody in your neighborhood speeding, you can report it to the police, and the
Yeah.
police could then, they might not give them a ticket then, but they would talk to them, you know, and a visit would straighten that, because it was. In your street, there seemed to have been a real, you could almost tag the times, and I did. And I'll share that with you, tag some of the times that it happened. But there's such a slow number.
Yeah.
It didn't show any of your DoorDash, and I'm saying you're probably right about those two, but it didn't show it. The main speeders were, it was such a small number. It was
It was every day.
every day, early in the morning, and oddly, at about 12. And it was mainly coming in as opposed to going out.
Yeah.
People coming back like for lunch or something, and going out at 2 o'clock again or something like that. It was a small number, 2 or 3. And it's hard for us to get enforcement there. But
Can I ask you a question?
so the man is requesting, I believe, we also suggested that. The HOA could put up slow down signs, carry one slow down signs.
Would that have to be, would that, process go through the city though?
Yes,
Okay.
and. It was requested that the HOA could purchase those signs, and the city would. Be willing to put them up if they met the city standards. So you could talk to Spencer about the signs aren't that expensive.
Depending on which,
Yeah, you
If
could
you're-
choose some real exotic signs,
yeah,
they get much more expensive. Like one person put, one that said, no golf carts, no on the sign, but you don't have golf carts, so you kind of.
if it's just if we're just talking a regular sign sign, and it's kind of this committee
Yeah.
voted for it, then it's easier for me to get the sign either made or ordered and then just go to install it. If we're talking about some sort of a feedback sign or a flashing sign, that I think was more so for neighborhoods to try to.
Okay. But I'd like to go back to the speed reduction request, and that ties into your data here. This data, is this based on assuming the speed limit is 25 miles an hour?
Yes,
Yes. So then if you assumed it to be 15 miles an hour, how many speeders would you have?
You'd have. I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't speak to that. Well, you could probably, it's in the data.
yeah.
So that's what
But
I'm curious.
It's hard to look at that because, first of all, the majority of people coming, I'm sorry, we're discussing it now, but we're down to the last person. You had a question first before. I
Yeah,
keep
so
on
when you can
talking.
bring back up the map. I want to understand thoroughly. Okay, so let's say you've just left the post office and you're heading towards Cedar. Is where the problem begins after you cross over Cedar heading down the hill on Northwest Second?
That's where I was told most of the concern is on that main stretch of Second Avenue right there.
Now, is there a problem on First as well?
I don't know. I live on that corner of Second where it turns, right down, sorry, you go Westmore.
Mhm.
Right, keep going right in that corner. I live in that corner there. And people generally slow on the corner a little bit because of, vehicles blocking sight distance and such. I don't know about First Avenue as much. Again, having street parking does create a traffic calming effect. But it still would be nice to have it reduced to 15 miles an hour just because of the amount of kids on the street, the amount of people walking on the street. And just the density of the neighborhood. I don't know how much of a lift it would be for the city to reduce what process they have to go through the county.
it does have to be reviewed by the state,
Okay,
but there was some. I thought this biggest changes with their review process to where the state, I don't think is quite as hands-on as they used to be.
okay,
I do know that the last time that we tried to go to 15 miles an hour, we were shut down. But I think we were able to get it to 20, and that was in front of the library.
okay. I guess my wife might be coming next time. One of the things she brought up is we don't want to see like a tragic accident to
Right.
happen where, okay, now we'll put it down to the speed. So we're trying to be on the front end of this.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were to go down there and try to drive 25 down there, you would understand.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what my wife's thing was.
I've driven down that area.
We had the Domino's delivery driver that my wife got fired. He was going 25 miles an hour down the neighborhood. He was doing it on a weekend day, which was very busy and there was a lot of kids out. So his argument was, I'm not speeding. My wife said, well, you're driving recklessly, basically, because you're accelerating too fast around here and these little kids. So it's not necessarily always about the speed, but the how you're driving around like corner. Like you don't go technically, you're going 25 miles an hour on a corner. You're not technically speeding if that's a speed limit, but that's reckless at that point. So
With children at play, have any?
So a lot of us do put that, kid thing out, we do put that out, that does help a little bit. I'm out on, when it's lighter out, I'm out on the street with my kid playing street hockey, so I'm a physical presence out there too, that helps too. But I think for people to be aware of, you could do, if it were to go through, have a traffic pattern change or a speed reduction notice posted there, and then throughout the neighborhood. At each entrance, there should be a sign that says 15 miles an hour, and then maybe one or two throughout the neighborhood at certain spots, maybe an intersection would make more sense.
Are there school bus stops in your complex?
No, but the CAT does drive down Second and then back up Aspen, and and then back, eastbound on Third. That's the only bus that goes through.
I'm gonna close down the conversation because that's our.
I gotta head out and get it.
Well, not only that, I'm not trying to freak you out, but we have a expectation that, you know, we don't problem solve the first month. So in all fairness to everybody that comes, you know, that we gotta keep some semblance of order.
Yep.
So I heard your concern, your request is that it be reduced.
Yeah.
To 15 miles an hour, and we will address that. And my thoughts is, also, if you're looking at signage, you may want to talk to your association and Mr. Crowe about what can be done. So, all right, and will you become next month? Or-
Either me or my wife. will-
All right, okay, that'd be terrific.
Thanks a lot.
Welcome to stay.
I did have one.
Okay, Tracy, you have to leave in.
About 5 minutes.
Yes, so you want to go first?
The only thing I has just a couple notes. One, we did hire a full-time code enforcement officer. Her name's Carrie Ann. And so, Chris Ann, thank you, goodness sakes. Sorry, she probably heard that online and said you don't. I'm sorry, Chris Ann. Two names, it must be on. I got the Ann part right. Anyway, she's full-time code enforcement, so, and yeah, I think Carrie was on the brain, because Carrie's still with us, she's just. She used to have 2 jobs in one, and they split the jobs apart, so Carrie's doing the evidence stuff, and Chris Ann is doing code enforcement, so. And she's in the truck like all the time, so.
That's terrific.
Yeah, so there'll be a little bit more like patrolling and won't, as far as I understand it, it won't be as much complaint driven that when she
Good.
sees something.
So
She'll do something, yeah.
the philosophy is that she will be more proactive
That's the hope, yeah.
and take action before citizen complaint.
Yes, that's
I mean,
the
she
hope.
won't-
That was the intention in getting that position to be a full-time position.
To the best of your knowledge, because police aren't here today, if you don't mind me asking one other question about code enforcement, because it drives some of this thing where when the code enforcement person isn't working
Mhm.
and citizens call into the emergency number of the police department, what do you think is the police response?
If it's a code enforcement thing, Sam will get the message,
They'll just take a next.
and then she'll act accordingly. I can
Yeah.
act case by case, I mean, but
Yeah.
yeah, if they get a voicemail, in fact, I mean, I know she gets voicemails because there was an issue last week that came to my attention, but, they'll
Mhm.
those messages come into non-emergency, they get them to whoever's gonna take care of that, this particular request, and so code enforcement problems will go to Chrisanne. And then she'll follow up.
All right. Any other?
And so, yeah, any questions about that part? No, okay, tonight at the police department's community room is a meet and greet. If anyone is interested in coming to meet the 3 candidates for the city administrator position, that's happening tonight at I believe 6 o'clock. And then tomorrow is the interview process, so hopefully we'll have a new city administrator by the end of the month. And then next week on the 14th is the planning, the comp plan summit, the community summit, 14th from 6 to 8, also the police station. That's what I have. Any questions?
Please try to, as best you can, put it on the 14th, especially for that.
It's important, yeah.
It's important, this is the summit planning for the next 20 years, what's your city gonna be like? And they're coming up with their goals and objectives, but it's also talking about, you know, the expansion areas in the city to meet growing needs. So if you can, I have attended the last 2, and I probably attend this one, but it really is impactful as far as.
3 candidates, you say?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's tonight. Okay, thank you. Any questions
Any
for our
questions for me
liaison?
before I have to scooch?
All right,
Thank you, though. Thanks.
And the beer library still works. Before you ask. And yes, it's still Chipotle.
jumping back to Rosemary Ebner had come to us last month about her concerns about speeding on Juniper Street. And she wrote an email. She says, when I attended the October meeting via Zoom and expressed my concerns about speeding on North Juniper between 10th and Territorial. I just realized that I am not able to attend the upcoming meeting this Wednesday morning. But I did take the recommendations of the meeting, and I put in a request the same day to Canby Police Department for the radar trailer to be placed on Juniper. I know that they are backlogged, so I'm waiting for my turn. I'm still concerned about the speeding, and thank you for your input, and maybe at some point a three-way stop could be placed on 4th or 13th North Juniper. As you guys, I sent out to you guys the traffic study, or at least my analysis of the traffic study. And I think all of you have it. And as you can see, right offhand, the amount of traffic on a daily basis, that seems significant, 60 to 140, but comparatively to some of our other streets, that's relatively a low rate of car volume. And if you look at the data going through, you can see that the far majority of cars, the speed limit is 25, but given 5 miles, either way, you add up the percentage, that means that there are 91% of the cars that are obeying the law relatively, okay? So it's a relatively small number, and even those that are not, which is like, there's 98 cars over an 8-day period, okay? That are speeding, but off that, 7 were going 35. So you start to get a real small pocket of cars. That's the north side, and the southbound, there's a little bit more speeding going on. Is that southbound? Scroll down. There, southbound. There's a little bit more. You can see that there's a little bit more speeding going on. Well, I take it back. The northbound was the highest percentage. On the southbound, there's only 5 vehicles that were really going 10 miles or more. And of those, good number of them 5 of them were 36. Okay, so and I tracked, if you look at because the numbers were small, I was able to track the flow of the traffic for the cars that were going. This is 6 miles more, so 30 to 35. So it's 6 miles to 10 miles. That it's around the rush hour time. And on most days, you can see there aren't that many people going really fast. I know 10 miles of them, the speed limit is fast, but from our other traffic studies, we've had cars going 45, 50 through the neighborhoods. Okay, we're not having that in here, okay?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I noticed in your neighborhood, Bob, on North Maple, you have some of those signs that you talk about. Do you have to get approval for those signs, and do you find those to be pretty effective?
the ones little
The little ones that kind
kids,
of.
kids don't speed it,
Yeah.
you know, interesting, a lady had purchased or gotten a whole bunch of these signs, and she went around and just stopped at different houses and asked if we were willing to put them up, and of course, I'm on the Traffic Safety Commission, how could I say anything but put them up? You know, and I'm glad I did, because I'm glad, I don't,
They caught my attention, that's why I asked, and I wonder if
Yeah.
sort of something like that to get approval or.
If it's something like that in your own yard, I don't know what the code is for yard signs. That would be, I would ask one of our code enforcement gals, or I could try to
Yeah.
dig into the code, but I feel like they would know a little bit faster than I would.
I've never seen a complaint.
No,
I don't think
If you put up one of those nice kid-friendly signs.
It
in
just
your-
looks like a reminder, you know, I need to be
Yes.
more cautious because there's kids around here.
Yeah, I wish the city would, maybe that's something for us to think about. I wish the city would, you can get them, on the Oregon, Department of Transportation. They have some of those signs, but I don't know if, you know, quite frankly, I think it may be something for you guys to think about recommending to the city that they go out to buy a whole bunch of these. They're cheap, not, well, relatively cheap.
Yeah, because this
You
street
buy
is a good example of that, where it doesn't have a glaring problem, but something little like that might help.
Yeah, you know what I mean, you know, and people can, coming to this committee, we can give them out something immediate. Not to pacify, I'm not trying to pacify people, but you know, give them something immediate that they can do to affect, and I think that's something for us to seriously think
And
about.
maybe even create them so they're seasonal. So in other words, you're changing them every so often, just to keep people that are going through there alert, you know, hey, you know, they're looking out for us and.
So,
I swore that street had a word, slow painted on the streets.
I believe at one point in time it did
You
have,
can still see it a little bit, but I don't remember where it's at. I think it's on the north end.
it is on, it was, when we painted those out, I believe it was a slow 25 mph that we had painted out on the road. That was quite a few years ago. I don't remember exactly what the pushback was from that, but we were given direction that we weren't. And that was which boss I had at that time.
And then on this street, is there any presence at all of crosswalks?
I don't. You wanna bring
Like
that?
Google Maps, you can see the old thing on the first cross street.
Because don't you all instinctively, when you have a street that has crosswalks, just kind of tones you down a bit, doesn't it?
Like you said, that street doesn't seem very busy. I mean, it is busy, but I've traveled a lot. I've never noticed speeding going down it, but when you,
I don't think there's any crosswalks.
Huh.
I don't think so.
And
Spencer,
the person talked
Oh.
about,
Spencer, could you share the screen, please? Thanks.
yes,
Usually better at that.
and.
No worries.
And the person talked about having a four-way stop at
Freeway, I think.
three-way, it looks like, that's what I'm looking now, it looks like a three-way stop at 14th and 13th and 14th.
Yeah,
And I like to just remind people that first of all, we cannot put in three-way stops or four-way stops just for traffic speed. It is not a calming device that is allowed. It has to have enough volume. Because what happens is people start blowing the stop sign, you know? So it has to be enough volume so people can see the relevance. And I can't see that
Yeah.
13th and 14th would have enough volume to justify a three-way stop there.
Yeah, that area isn't as heavy traffic as like Ivy and Holly and other nearby streets. I used to live over there years back when I was a kid, and I rode my bike all the time riding around, and there was hardly any traffic. And even now when I drive over there, there's not as much traffic as you would see on Ivy or Holly.
It's nice, it's one of the widest
I mean,
streets there is.
If you look at the pattern, there are, some people are cutting from 10th to Territorial to get onto Territorials and leave, at the certain hours. And as the population grows, you're gonna have more of this impactful kind of traffic. So it is a concern.
Probably the same people speeding, because they're shooting down Jennifer.
And didn't the Canby police officer say that that one that was going at 6 AM each day, he actually pulled over?
And I did provide him this data, and that's part of it, that we're hoping that, as we did with the 2nd Street down by, fire department, police department, we try to give the data and try to identify specific times of the day. So police officers, if they have time, can spin to this area and target, a ticket. And that's part of one of our, hopefully our interventions, is to have targeted impact by police. As they did on 13th Street. Officer Miller spent the whole several days there, and from what I can understand, he gave out, I don't know, 25 to
Yeah.
40
quite a few
tickets.
Last time I talked to him, he was going for double of that.
Yeah, I mean, so.
He spent some time out.
Now that roadway, South 13th Street was extremely, that was an extreme as far as volume and traffic speed. I mean, that was crazy. I've never seen that kind of volume except for Vine. So I don't know what to tell you folks. I mean, I've given Officer Miller this information, and he's aware of it, and he's gonna try to, be mindful of that area. I don't know what else to, and she's putting in the sign, the traffic from the police department, the flashing sign. I'm not too sure what else that we can do.
Right.
This is part of a bigger, I'll say it again every time I do. This is a roadway that could have benefited from, if we were to ever get a speed camera that gives tickets, where you do spot intervention, right? Drop it in, get a bunch of tickets, people get aware, then you can move on to the next area, but we don't have that right now yet in the city. But who knows? If I make enough noise.
I think even in Milwaukee, I believe they have a
van,
mobile van that they can move around, and it was parked on the side, and we'll take a picture of it,
Problem fast. Problem with those, and I did it a long time ago before I started lifting, is if I'm registered on that vehicle and my wife's driving it, and she goes by one and takes a photo, she's not liable for the ticket because she's not the registered owner of that vehicle. So hence, there's ways out of those tickets, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We should have been hit with a ticket for one of those, but I think we were 6 miles over the speed limit on Walsh.
well, I got a ticket, that was 8 years ago in Milwaukee. Makes me much more aware.
Yeah.
I'm
Is it time for confessions now?
just saying, it does have impact when you start to pay attention. If you get a
change
change
behavior, definitely.
Yeah, well, either that or and give up your money. But like I said, our goal with that recommendation, which hopefully we'll have a presentation soon, is that there be no tickets given by that device because everybody is obeying the law,
Right.
you know? Okay, moving on. Eric, are you gonna do anything with the traffic enforcement presentation today?
I don't think Eric's with us.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry about that. We have another person on. Who is Matt?
Can be rental.
Matt, are you here for a presentation or?
No, sir, just observing.
Okay, thank you, Matt. I'll make note that you're have attended. All right, North Vine,
Can we touch on that?
yes, first, I wanted to say thank you to Public Works for moving the sign as requested, so that
Yeah.
digital sign is up near North.
I really believe
Yeah,
it changes
yeah.
behavior. I can already kind of feel it. I mean, I haven't seen any data, but, yeah, thank you so much for putting that up and, I think, those things are great. So thank you.
Yep. Very good. Discussion about Northwest Elm and Third. We have walked around that, but we haven't come up with any definitive discussion.
Remember Third, I remember we were out there.
Second, I'm sorry, this thing is,
Yeah, I think it's.
it's second. Elm and second.
So. Again, I think I touched on it last month on talking with our consultant traffic engineer. He said that he would be willing to take our money to do the study to see something there, but it really. In his expertise, he said that he does not see it warranting doing any kind of four-way stop through there. Anything else as far as trying to do some sort of a traffic calming for bump outs, curb extensions, anything like that. Those would all have to be more of a capital improvement project. And
Have we done the most simplest things? Not the simplest, because they involve a lot of labor and cost for the city, such as painting on all four sides out to the required length. Because I was just there this past week, this Sunday, and right next to the church, the person was parked right
up to the corner.
up to the corner. And I had to drive out at least a length of a car to see.
Well, and that is a wider street, so if there is a car parked there, then it does feel like you're going a lot farther out.
Yeah,
But yeah, I believe that was one of the things that we talked about. When we all went out there, was making sure that we had extended the no parking for the 30-foot radius on the corners throughout that street.
is that reasonable? From Public Works point of view?
I think that that's a good area for targeting, trying to extend those radiuses out for the no parking areas.
Folks, thoughts, people online, Jenny, any comments, thoughts?
So I think if that's something you recommend, I definitely am in favor of it.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we have, Public Works investigate that intersection and, add yellow striping to prohibit parking too close to the intersection, using their discretion.
I second that.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed?
Aye.
Oh, yes. Jenny? Who's talking?
I was an I. Might have been someone else.
She was an
She
aye.
was an-
She was
Oh,
in
I
favor.
see. Thank you, Jenny.
again,
Sorry.
May I ask a
That's
question?
okay.
Yes.
This is the Northwest Second and Elm intersection that we're talking about painting curbs on, correct?
Yes.
Okay. My only concern here would be the impact to Jerry Yazzolino's business on the corner of Second and Elm. If you paint 30 feet down the corner, you're going to eliminate any parking in front of his business.
It's 30 feet from the center of the roadway outward.
So Matt, can you see my screen, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the 30 feet starts kind of at this curve. So
Yep.
it would go roughly from here to about his driveway.
Yeah.
What would be roughly painted the yellow. So anything south of there would still be allowed. And that's actually a city code where it's 30 feet from the apex of the corner down is considered no parking. So it's implied everywhere throughout the city, but it is not always painted everywhere.
And
And are you also going to paint the 30 feet down Second as well? Would that be the intention?
Yep, so what I would do is where this curb of Elm and where curb of Second, if you were to draw a straight line and continue those past the radius of the corner.
Yep.
That apex, I would go 30 feet in both directions on all four corners.
Okay, fair enough.
And I believe there's also there on North Elm coming down from along the Canby Rental. I think that side is painted yellow already, right? A part
That
of
is
it.
correct.
So it won't extend beyond what I think is already painted.
No, it would not.
And
And so
what-
this one, like right here in front of Canby Rental, it's painted past 30 feet from the apex, but that is due to the fire hydrant.
Yeah. So
It's also painted yellow on the Second Street end of this as well.
and we're just gonna have to remind Canby Rental to be mindful of the yellow. But I think most times they are. You can see that it won't impact their usual business.
No, we're incredibly mindful of it from a Canby rental perspective. The trick is just occasionally reminding our customers to be respectful of it.
Right. And so I don't think it's gonna change that side of the street. It's the other parts of the street we need to enhance the vision so that people, that is a very busy street. And we've moved on it.
And if we don't mind real quick, this was something that was brought up, and while Matt's still here, I know we had talked about this a couple of times. I'd met with Matt and a couple of guys at Canby Rental. We had a internal meeting with a bunch of city staff for concerns for this intersection. And what we've come up with now is just to real quick give everybody an idea of what we're going to be doing. If I can get the right picture again. I don't know how I lost my current picture of, there we go. So Matt, I know you and I have talked about this a couple of times of keeping the candlesticks here. It's been kind of brought up that there were concerns of it being the business that was putting stuff out in the street. And I think that we all agree that it needs something there. So I've gone ahead and ordered some of those bolt down, white candlesticks that we are going to be installing in that location. So Matt, you don't have to worry about putting your candlesticks and sign out there in the street, but it will be city stuff that will be out there and kind of doing the exact same thing.
Will you be curving it out more from the back, going back to the actual intersection because it's okay.
So we have to pretty much put it in the same spot because of the fire hydrant.
Okay.
We have to maintain clear zone for the fire hydrant. And it is still permissible parking through there. So I don't want to take away any of the parking. But there has been concerns that have been brought up above just this committee and then going and talking with the business owner and everything else that. We're gonna go ahead and install. The white candlesticks along there to kind of delineate people over.
The only reason why I was talking about extending it back, which would, they're flexible.
Right.
So if the fire department needed to reach the fire hydrant, they could easily go through the candlesticks or just.
They typically don't like to drive over things with their truck.
Right.
So,
But I'm just saying, because what it is, the people coming up the roadway are having to deviate over. And if it was from the curb, then when you come across, you actually are deviating completely, not after you come across the intersection, you deviate. So just food for thought.
Well, how does that impact the commercial traffic going through there though? Trucks that are going to Wilson and then.
So it depends on the driver. There is more than enough room, and I know that you are very passionate about how trucks can get through places.
You got the trees up there.
There's-
You're blocking the lane of traffic there.
I have seen multiple trucks that can make it through easy, and I've seen multiple trucks that have a hard time with it, so it depends on the truck driver.
Spencer, can I speak to this for 10 seconds?
Absolutely.
Two things on this. Tony Helbling came and saw me specifically about this issue with his truck drivers being able to make that bounce out. And we arrayed this particular arrangement of candlesticks right here. And he was okay with that. His whole concern initially was that our line was getting a little too far perpendicular to the curb, and he just wanted the angle swept back a little bit. So we've already worked with a fair bit of the truck traffic, because Wilson, of course, creates a lot of traffic through there. The other thing that I think is relevant, y'all should know that we trimmed this tree up yesterday about 30 feet taller. So the visibility coming around this corner is a whole lot better, especially for the big rig drivers.
Thank you, sir. Muchas gracias.
Matt, would it be better if I met with you or Josiah for when I was actually gonna install the?
As far as this issue is concerned, we're interchangeable, either or.
Okay, I'll connect with you guys once I get them in stock.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt, for participating. Any other comments about Second and Elm Street?
Just one, I guess, for future reference, at this time, what would you guess a traffic study would cost to review that intersection?
I think he threw out a number of probably $5,000.
Okay, and that'll just go up over time. That's all I have.
I like the idea of the permanent candlesticks instead of the business having to put out stuff all the time, because that's a lot of wear and tear. It's better to have it something permanent structure than, oh, today we have this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll train people to do this all the time, not just when the business is open.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just say that I'm really glad to see that it's going to be going in like that. I think it'll really help with the traffic that's turning off the 99, because you do need to shift over to the left. And if there wasn't something there, I think everyone would really stay up further over to close to the right curb, as opposed to kind of moving over. So I'm excited to see it for what that's worth.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, moving on. South 13th Street, we briefly touched speeding. We briefly touched on the fact that the Canby Police has responded to our traffic study and given out a number of tickets. And
I really like that concentrated effort to that one area. And I think, if they're willing to shift around the community when need be, I think, don't you think, Deanna? I mean, that roadway affects you greatly. That really has an impact, doesn't it?
Correct. And just to kind of get everyone up to speed too, Jackie and I met with Officer Miller on Halloween last week. We met him and I was thankful for his time. I'm glad that I was able to work it out to be there with Jackie, but Jackie, Officer Miller and I are trying to think of ideas for areas to help out the community, because Jackie and I had noticed the problems for a long time, and I actually found out that someone close in my neighborhood got a ticket. And I was like, oh, they didn't even realize that there's a school zone near our neighborhood. I'm like, the signs there, I'm always extra cautious just because I've lived there enough time. But I liked how Officer Miller said that he gave some people warnings, but he primarily was giving out tickets. And we are noticing that people are getting back in their habits, which is gonna happen. People get in their habits and stuff, but he's willing to kind of go around the whole community and trying to trigger that. And that's what I like with the digital device that kind of can track it to kind of help us figure out what areas, but we're trying to think of ways to make it easier and safer for people. And like for us in our neighborhood, we have a crosswalk that gets used on occasion, but I think it would get used more if it were safer, because it's kind of like what you were talking about, 4th and Ivy gets bad because people don't stop. Well, Burke Parkway, 13th, and that gets where people won't stop. And I've had to, on numerous occasions, when I take my mom and we go for a walk, I have to basically tell her, stay back on the curb until I get out there, and I'll put myself in jeopardy, because if I have to, I'll run. But in some instances, I go extra slow just to get the person to slow down or stop. And if they don't, then I just kind of like wave out my hands to kind of alert them that there's a crosswalk. But it'd be nice if some of those crosswalks could be lighted, or something to kind of help with reflection. Just with the game darker sooner now and stuff, it'd be nice to kind of have something, because for Halloween, our neighborhood got busy, but no one came to our side of the street because of not a safe place to cross with Burke Parkway being busy. But I do know that Officer Miller wants to try to get out and about, but Canby Police, I wish that we had more money for them, so then there could be more stages of having police presence other places. It's interesting when people are seeing the cop car, they're slowing down, but he is finding hideouts on 13th, and offering to let them park in our driveways is also helping too if he needs to. So
we really do need to put that in our group of questions that we ask for citizens when they come to talk about speeding. Are you willing to volunteer your driveway for the police to use that as a staging area to monitor speeding? I mean, because you're right, if you park it on the roadway, people slow down. As opposed to, getting impacted by it,
I don't know if Candy does the police bikes or not, but Hubbard's got 2 sitting in the shop that they don't use. Actually, they have 4, but police mountain bikes.
Bicycle bike,
Yep.
you live in motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, like some of these other neighborhoods that were given, who's gonna stop for a bicycle, and I guess it is an officer, but you might have a little more running if that's the case.
but I know, like with Officer Miller and Jackie and I, we were talking about trying to stage like a video that Jackie was part of earlier, about trying to do like something with like the crosswalks and stuff, just to kind of make people more aware, and thinking about people that are like on their cell phone or something, just the distracted driving, just trying to get people kind of alert, because we've had a few of the accidents that have happened on 13th have taken out the signs and stuff, because people were saying that the sign glare or something. So just trying to kind of figure out what's going on.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm gonna move us along.
May I ask a quick question before we move on?
Yes.
There was a conversation, Spencer, with you last time with Officer Miller about possibly making kind of like a curb cut right when you're on 13th heading towards Elm. Like before you hit the football fields, basically on the right-hand side, there's a fence where the city land ends and then the housing starts. Was it on the list of possibilities to make that kind of curb cut so he could hide behind the fence and keep an eye out on things from there?
We had talked about it at the meeting, and then I had just we just met, probably 2 days ago over the truck route signs on Ivy. And I was asking him if that was still something, he was interested in, because he was talking about how well he was doing at, finding speeders on that street as it was. And he said that as of right now, with how wet the ground is, he would be nervous about trying to back up into that grass area and getting the car stuck. So I think that would be
Mm-hmm.
more of a springtime, or once it starts to dry out a little bit more. I think unless we were to try to go through and build a full-on road right there, which I don't think that's quite what we were going for, so.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for the update.
Or a later time, but as of right now, he said not to worry about it until this spring.
Okay.
And the
Thanks.
HOA, because I am on the board, I did tell Officer Miller he's welcome to park on our private streets because they are not city owned. So I told him that if he needed to, he could always hide out back there or in people's driveways.
Thank you.
I think it was a scarecrow contest, moved people down at intersections. I know I waited 5 minutes for a scarecrow to walk by and then got off the curb.
Truck route sign on South Ivy.
So the guys installed 2 new truck route signs on South Highway last Friday.
Bless your heart. Thank you.
I don't know yet.
They're icing already.
They might be, but yeah, so we installed 2 new signs. I totally forgot. I was gonna try and get a picture of them and.
Is
share
it
'em
sort
with
of like
everybody.
what Officer Miller was?
Yeah, so we met with Officer Miller early last week to go over the sign design on exactly what it was that he kind of wanted, and then to try to make sure that we could make signs that were enforceable and legal.
Yeah.
And so I think we accomplished that, and so they put them up Friday, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. The reason I applaud is I love the way Public Work is very responsive, and you guys really do try to respond to what our recommendations are. And thank you very much. And hopefully there will be some awareness of those trucks so that they can stop taking out things.
And I will add too, that the one sign is slightly hard to see due to the placement of a power pole. Talking with Canby Utility, with them trying to finish up the undergrounding of that, they're hoping that pole will be removed before the end of the year. So even though the sign is kind of hard to see at the moment, within the next few months, they're hoping that pole will be gone, and then it'll be more visible at that point.
northbound traffic.
Thank you very much, sir. No parking sign on North Third, and I think we've kind of, I don't know what that is.
Northeast Third, was that the striping? With the no parking sign?
Oh, yeah, okay, you guys have done that. You
Yep.
guys removed
The parking stalls that were left after the
yes,
no parking signs were installed, so those lines got
Done.
removed.
thank you very much. You followed through with that. Media, utilizing media for education of traffic concerns. Deanne, you and Jackie we're gonna take on that mission.
Yeah, and we're working with Officer Miller. One thing that got brought up is, do we want to ask the city of Canby, do we have to ask the city to sponsor like a Facebook page on behalf of like traffic safety?
Ooh.
And or is it gonna be like Jackie and I just doing that on a personal level? It seems like it should be something like, I know for our Southwest Neighborhood Association that Jackie does, she has a Facebook page for that. I have one for Cedar Ridge Homeowners Association that I created for our neighborhood. And so I wasn't sure if we want to do something for like the traffic safety where it's visible on Facebook, where we can post like videos and different things, or post like reminder schools about to start, remember for safety of kids.
Ooh, I don't know.
You, we need to talk to Maya.
I would say Maya and, I wish Tracy was here. 'cause she
Yeah.
would
Yeah, and I
probably
think,
have-
yeah,
But I think as far as trying to start an official traffic safety Facebook page, I don't know who would be the one
Yeah.
that, when it gets to social media stuff, I try to stay.
Yeah, I. For discussion from you folks, I like the idea that we should have a Canby Traffic Safety Commission social media page, heading. So that when we put it on Canby Now, it isn't just one person's opinion.
Right.
It is something that, but I suspect if we're going to do that, then we have to do whatever we're gonna post has to be approved by the city.
I think so, or at least by the committee.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
something, well, I would go even further, beyond the committee, it has to be, we approve it, and then somebody at the city has to bless it, because we are an advisory, so we can't just post what we want. But, so I think if you could take this on, if you
Yeah.
don't mind,
yeah.
check with Tracy,
Mhm.
and I will send you Maya Bahannon's email address
Okay,
and telephone number. She's the deputy,
No, she is the,
head
yep, she's
Head,
the city
recorder.
recorder.
city recorder. So she's the one who's in charge of all, putting up on the websites, recording the meetings.
okay.
So she's a really nice lady. I've dealt with her with the agenda and everything. So I'll send you the email and you can talk to her about it. And maybe I'll give you her phone number too, so a little
Yeah.
discussion about why it's so important.
Mhm.
And that everything will be run through her before it gets posted.
Yeah,
Um,
And I think keeping Officer Miller in the loop is very important too.
yeah, well, and I really liked Officer Miller's time, because he even told us, hey, this is just a discussion, but maybe later we can kind of talk about it more, and, I just like a way to get the word out to the community, because there are some people that aren't able to come on Wednesdays because mornings are hard and stuff, but have a spot where they can at least go to, because sometimes the city of Canby navigation through the city of Canby pages can be hard too, but a lot of the community is more into
I'm,
Facebook, or you see comments on like Canby Now where we look, Jackie and I try to look, Tracy does too, responding to people's questions.
I am very concerned about opening that door.
Yeah,
About taking citizens' complaints off social media and us dealing with that. I think I would recommend to the committee, because I'm not the last word here. I recommend to the committee that we pursue this on an educational basis,
mhm,
one-way conversation at this point. And then have further discussion later about the fact taking concerns off social media. I come from the old school that if you have a concern, you should be willing to either come on Zoom or send a representative or something and have a certain amount of investment in the problem,
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
On that Facebook thing, you can set it up as one way, so you can put out.
Yeah.
information versus proceeding.
So, instead of taking the comments so that, we get 6 million people saying whatever,
yeah,
we would be totally overwhelmed, and I don't know if the person has as much investment when they have to come and do something.
Yes.
but what we're trying to do is get a forum where we can send out like things
Yes.
about safety, showing videos, like that video that was done years back, showing the impact of someone driving impaired or whatever it was, just to, we wanna, but we're trying to figure out if we need to do it city-wide or just do
Yes.
like have it be a personal page, but have it be where they don't, like, if someone tries to post on there, you have to get approved before it can be comments on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, just kind of hesitant about opening a Pandora's box about 6 million complaints, and, some people are just not very thoughtful about what they say sometimes. And that becomes a public forum. And so I will give you
Yeah.
Maya's, and if you want, I can talk to her, but I.
No, I can reach out to her and Tracy. I just wanted to kind of give an update of what we were trying to discuss.
Terrific. It's a good way for us to even talk about, these roadways that have speeding concerns. Alert, just an alert that, Jennifer has been indicated that there's been a little bit higher speeding. We ask all citizens to be concerned about others, slow down, something like that,
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. North Locust Street, okay. I guess we dealt with it. We're gonna be dealing with what next one on. Police officer wasn't able to come today. Planning.
Hi, everyone. Tracy already said the most important thing is the next community summit is November 14th. Again, share widely, come yourselves if you're able. It is very important, as Bob stated. And there's going to be more sort of in-depth conversations to this one because, each meeting kind of gets more in depth. So we're really into the weeds now on it. So hopefully you'll find it interesting if you do go. Other things, the beer library was approved by Planning Commission on the 23rd. So that has to go through, final readings and everything, but it was approved. And checking my list. The food cart pod at Millar's is still under review. But it does look like that will be approved. There's going to be a consolidated access. I thought you all might find that interesting. So Millar's property is actually 2 parcels and there's 3 driveways, on those 2 parcels. And so they're going to consolidate the 2 easternmost parcel accesses into one. And that has been approved by ODOT. So that's a good thing. They're getting closer to the spacing standards there. Other than that, I am open to any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
of course.
All you guys do.
Thanks.
Public Works.
As far as any project updates for us, we do have the leaf drop off going on right now, so anytime during business hours, call ahead and make an appointment with Rhonda and then come and drop off any and all leaves from the house if they don't fit into the bins. I believe we were still planning on doing a Saturday drop off. I don't know if that date has been decided yet because last year we did it, I think the weekend before Thanksgiving, but the majority of the leaves hadn't quite fallen yet. And so it'll probably be more of a week by week basis, and then we'll try to get it all out on social medias and any other outlets on when and where we're having the big Saturday leaf drop off.
Thanks for doing.
Other than that, it's just been kind of trying to coordinate with utility providers. I don't know if everyone noticed, but 99 is back on, and I think I got a day's notice before they were going to go back out there. So that was a fun, quick phone call that, hey, we're starting tomorrow. But yeah, so K&E is back out working during the day until they can get their noise variants updated, and that they will start resuming night work as well. From what I've heard, rumor was that they're going to be running crews kind of 24/7, trying to get everything caught up. We'll see how long that lasts.
there was an article in the paper about that.
Yep.
That they're gonna try to repair that water
The storm line.
storm line there. And then, they're gonna, I guess it's gonna be fall and spring. They should be moving and paving sometime summertime, I don't know.
We're hoping
Yeah,
for how big the project is and how it's gone so far, I'm
no one.
crossing fingers, but not holding my breath.
I know it's not probably you, but it's because it's on 99, but right there by McDonald's, there is a 5 to 6 inch pothole.
Yeah.
That will swallow your tire.
Yep.
And you have to swerve and miss it, so, it's gonna fire, they're not filling it.
But they did,
They,
there's something in front of McDonald's was on social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Um,
so,
Yeah,
And I actually marked to one, I forget, I apologize for marking it, but coming across on Pine off of 99. I'd actually gone out there and circled one in white, only because I know white's just locating, I did drawings from Boulder, but I hit that and blew my tire, coming up over the track, and didn't see it, I hit it. Did that, I went over to the gravel lot, took a, I grabbed a shovel, came back, filled a 5-gallon bucket of gravel, walked over there, poured it in there, and within a day, you guys, it filled that hole. I appreciate that, but I try to avoid ever marking the roadway, I know better. But when it takes your entire tire out and destroys it.
it is. Anyway, thank you.
yeah.
Okay, board members, concerns? Deanne, anything else?
Just for me, it's just more of like with crosswalks where it's getting dark sooner now. Like just trying to see if maybe the city can look at getting, like, I don't know if in the roadway get like the light things or something to get it where people can kind of see that, hey, there's someone crossing. I worry with people like Clint walks his dog and stuff, and some of the areas are just really dark and stuff, and I'm not sure if there's a way to get some of the major intersections having better crossing, so then people driving can at least be alert, especially on the foggy mornings. So.
That's it.
If you think about it, if you can just kind of write down some of the specific crosswalks that you think need better lighting, that'd give me a list to kind of go off of and get started on. As far as the in-ground push button lights that flash up, we've pretty much completely gone away from using them. They are ridiculously expensive for what they are. They last for 25 months and the warranty is only 24 months. And I know that because I've gone through that multiple times on multiple locations. And so none of the manufacturers have come up with one that lasts long enough for it to be justifiable.
But the flashing
The
ones.
signs, the lighted signs, those work, but all of the in-ground ones, I think the only ones that still might work are the ones over by the high school, but the ones over by Cedar, none of those work. And the ones on Territorial for the logging road, those don't work anymore.
Let's put it on the agenda for next time, and I'm gonna put down, crosswalks, lighted.
And even just like, I know for me, by Ackerman Adult Center thing, there's just that one pole that just has a school and has a lighted flashlight or flashing yellow light, and something like that would be warranted compared to like maybe something in the ground, maybe that would be.
Oh, just a flashing.
Yeah, just with like someone crossing, so that then people can know that, hey, there is a crosswalk here, because some people just don't get adamant of seeing it, and maybe with somebody being near it, it would give them more light too. I don't know.
And maybe what we can do next time is have a discussion. We're trying to create a list on, and I don't know the budgetary implications, but at least having a list of areas that need them, and then prioritizing them, and then kind of really seeing, volume, because it's gonna come down to economics, right? Who goes first, and it's gonna come down to the most dangerous and the most frequent. And obviously 13th and Vine it have some serious problems already, but let's put it on the agenda for next time. That's a serious, good discussion.
No, sounds good.
All right, Gary?
Not much to report on my end, I just still see overweight trucks coming across the Knights Bridge, and so other than that, just same old, same old.
Well, I'm working with, I'm gonna go try to see Jerry after this about that. I don't know if you had a chance to talk to him about the sign, the email from the county.
This was supposed to come up with some kind of a better signage out there.
We had talked about that here.
Yes. And Jerry wasn't available, so I think I'm gonna take it up with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Cliff? Cliff?
No, I don't have anything to report. Thank you.
Okay. Jennifer?
Jimmy?
Sorry, I
Jennifer?
couldn't get that unmute button. Couldn't get that mute button clear. No, I'm good for this month. Thank you.
All right. And I think I've talked enough, so I'll keep quiet. Is there any other topic you guys want to discuss? I'm trying to keep us from 10:30. Yes.
I think we should all wear a wild Christmas sweater at the next meeting.
I second that.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, folks. You guys have a lot of time and effort built into this, and I really appreciate all you guys' work.
Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks,
And please
everyone.
put a reminder about the sweater in the notes, please, when they go out for next month. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.